Apache woman's leg was bitten by a snake. Cowboy saved her life by sucking out the poison. The sun rose slowly over the vast Arizona desert, painting the sky with soft shades of orange and pink. The early morning air was cool, but the warmth of the rising sun promised a hot day ahead. Amid the rolling hills of sand and sparse shrubs, a young Apache woman named Maya walked carefully across the desert floor. She carried a small woven basket in her hands, filled with the morning's collection of herbs, roots, and wildflowers. These were not just ordinary plants. They were gifts from the desert, used to heal wounds, soothe fevers, and bring comfort to her family. Every step she took left footprints in the soft sand, temporary marks that the wind would soon erase. Maya loved the desert, even though it could be harsh and unforgiving. She knew where the waterholes were hidden, which plants were safe to touch, and which animals roamed the area. She had learned these things from her mother and grandmother who had walked these lands before her. Today she felt calm and focused, thinking about the small bundle of herbs she would bring home. There was a sense of peace in the rhythm of walking, the quiet sounds of the desert surrounding her like a gentle embrace. The wind whispered softly through the sparse cacti and sagebrush, and birds called to one another from the rocky outcrops nearby. As she moved, Maya kept her eyes on the ground. She was careful to avoid the thorns of desert plants, and she stepped lightly over the small rocks scattered across the sand. Her mind wandered to her family, her younger brother, who was always curious and playful, and her grandmother, who loved to tell stories of the old days. She imagined them preparing for the coming evening, waiting for her to return with the herbs she had gathered. That thought gave her a small smile, but the desert, as beautiful as it was, held hidden dangers. And Maya, experienced though she was, did not notice the danger creeping silently beneath the sand. She was walking near a cluster of rocks when she suddenly felt a sharp, piercing pain on her right leg. At first, she thought she had stepped on a thorn or a sharp stone. She looked down quickly and her heart stopped for a moment. There, coiled and ready to strike again, was a rattlesnake. Its fangs had sunk into her calf and its body rattled in warning. The sound made her heart pound faster, and she realized the danger she was in. Fear rushed through her, sharp and immediate. Her leg throbbed with pain, and the venom from the snake bite began spreading quickly. She felt dizzy and weak, and panic made it hard to think clearly. Instinctively, she tried to step back, but the snake did not move. It stayed coiled, ready to strike again. Maya froze for a moment, remembering the stories her grandmother had told her about the deadly bites of rattlesnakes. She knew that without help, the venom could be fatal. Her mind raced, thinking about what she could do to survive. Maya realized she had to move. With great effort, she took slow, careful steps backward, trying not to provoke the snake further. Her hands shook as she balanced herself on the uneven desert ground. Every muscle in her body tensed as she searched for a safe place to sit and assess the bite. Sweat began forming on her forehead, not just from the heat but from fear and pain. The desert, which moments ago felt calm and welcoming, now seemed like an endless, dangerous expanse. She called out softly, hoping someone might hear her, but the desert swallowed her voice. Only the wind and the distant cries of birds answered. Her leg burned and swelled, making it harder to walk. She leaned on a nearby rock, trying to stay steady, her mind racing with thoughts of survival. She thought of her family again, imagining how worried they would be if she did not return. She thought of the remedies she knew, the herbal pastes that could soothe pain and prevent infection, but she realized that this was more than just a wound. The snake's venom worked quickly, and she needed someone experienced to help her. Alone, she felt her strength slipping away. Maya tried to remember what her mother had told her about snake bites. She remembered the warning to stay calm, to avoid running, and to reduce movement as much as possible. Panic, she knew, could make the venom spread faster. She took slow, deep breaths, trying to steady herself. Her pulse raced, but she forced herself to think clearly. She found a small piece of cloth and tied it gently above the bite, hoping it might slow the venom's spread. But her efforts felt small against the invisible danger coursing through her body. The sun climbed higher, and the heat of the desert became more intense. The sand shimmered under the sunlight, making the landscape almost blinding. Maya's energy began to drain, and she felt dizzy as the venom worked through her system. She realized that she might not survive this alone. Tears pricked her eyes, but she quickly wiped them away. She refused to give in to despair. Instead, she focused on staying aware of her surroundings, listening for any sound that might signal help. Time passed slowly, each minute feeling like an hour. Her body grew weaker and every step became a challenge. She tried to shout again, her voice hoarse from fear and dryness, but the wind carried her cries away. The rattlesnake had slithered back into the rocks, leaving her alone, yet still terrified. She knew she could not stay there much longer. Summoning the last of her strength, Maya began moving slowly toward a ridge in the distance. She hoped it would give her a better view of the land and maybe reveal someone nearby who could help. With every step, the pain increased, and the swelling in her leg grew. She leaned heavily on her basket, clutching it tightly as if it could somehow protect her. Her mind raced with memories of her childhood, days spent learning about the desert, hunting small game, and listening to her grandmother's stories. She thought about the resilience of her people, how they survived and thrived in this harsh land for generations. That thought gave her a small spark of hope, a reminder that she was strong, and maybe, just maybe, she could survive this too. As she struggled forward, she heard a faint sound over the desert wind. It was distant at first, but it grew louder, a rhythmic pounding that seemed like hooves on the sand. Maya froze, her heart leaping. Could it be someone coming to help her? She waved her hands, shouting as loudly as she could, hoping the sound would reach the approaching rider. The pounding grew nearer, and soon she saw a figure on horseback emerging from the heat waves of the desert. Relief washed over her in a wave almost stronger than the fear. The rider was a cowboy, a man who seemed strong and confident, moving steadily across the desert terrain. Maya called out again, her voice trembling with both fear and hope. The cowboy noticed her waving and slowed his horse. Seeing her distress, he quickly guided his horse to a stop beside her. The man, whose name she would soon learn was Sam, leaped off his horse and ran toward her, checking her leg immediately. His calm presence brought her a measure of comfort she hadn't felt since the bite. Maya sank to the sand, exhausted, her body shaking from pain and fear. Sam knelt beside her, examining the bite carefully. He spoke softly, his voice reassuring, telling her she would be okay. Maya clutched his hands in gratitude, feeling a strange mix of relief and fear. The desert, once an empty and threatening place, now felt like a place where hope had arrived. Hope in the form of a brave stranger who might save her life. At that moment, the vast desert seemed both beautiful and dangerous. Maya realized how fragile life could be, how quickly everything could change in a single moment. But she also realized that courage and kindness could appear just when they were needed the most. She had been walking alone, facing danger with only her knowledge and instincts, and now help had come. The fear that had gripped her heart began to ease slightly, replaced by a cautious optimism. She knew that with this man's help she had a chance to survive. Maya's body trembled as Sam knelt beside her, examining the snake bite carefully. Her leg throbbed with pain, the swelling spreading fast, and her vision blurred slightly from fear and the venom's effects. She had never felt anything so sharp and dangerous in her life, but seeing the calm and steady look on Sam's face gave her a strange sense of hope. His presence was a comfort, a sign that help had arrived just in time. She realized that even in the vast emptiness of the desert, a person could find unexpected aid, and that thought helped her focus despite the pain. Sam spoke softly, his voice low and reassuring. "Don't worry, I'm going to help you," he said. He carefully asked her to stay still while he examined the wound. His hands were steady, and he seemed confident, which helped ease some of her panic. He could see the swelling starting to spread up her calf, the skin around the bite turning a pale shade of pink. He knew that the venom from a rattlesnake could act fast, and he had to act quickly to prevent it from reaching her heart or major organs. Maya tried to speak, but her throat was dry and her lips trembled. It hurts so much," she whispered, her voice cracking. She looked down at her leg, still horrified by the sight of the puncture marks left by the snake. Her mind raced with fear, thinking about what would happen if the venom continued to spread. She had grown up in the desert and knew many dangers, but nothing had ever prepared her for this. She had always heard stories from her grandmother about the bites of rattlesnakes and how deadly they could be if help did not arrive quickly. Sam nodded, understanding her fear. "I know it hurts. I'm going to take care of it. Just stay calm and try to breathe slowly," he said. He gently guided her to lie down on a nearby patch of softer sand. The sun was higher now, making the desert even warmer, but he shaded her as best as he could with his coat. The heat made Maya's skin sticky with sweat, but she tried to focus on Sam's voice rather than the pain that radiated through her leg. She knew panicking would only make things worse. He reached into his bag and pulled out a clean piece of cloth. Carefully, he tied it loosely above the bite to slow the spread of the venom. Maya watched his actions closely, feeling a mix of fear and trust. She had never met this man before, yet here he was, calmly and carefully trying to save her life. She couldn't help but feel a deep gratitude for his presence. At the same time, she knew that even with help, the next few minutes would be critical. Sam took a moment to think. He remembered stories from old cowboys about dealing with snake bites in remote areas, long before hospitals were nearby. One method involved sucking out the venom immediately to reduce its impact. It was risky, but if done carefully, it could save a life. He looked at Maya and said, "I'm going to remove as much of the venom as I can. It might hurt a little, but it will help you survive." Maya nodded weakly, trusting him completely. Her pain was strong, but the fear of dying was stronger. She had no other choice but to rely on him. Sam leaned closer and began carefully sucking the venom from the wound. He did so slowly, ensuring that he didn't hurt her further. Maya felt the pressure and discomfort, but she also felt a strange sense of relief, knowing that someone was actively trying to save her. Her breathing was uneven and her heart raced, but she focused on staying still as Sam worked. He wiped the wound with a clean cloth repeatedly, making sure it was as clean as possible. Time seemed to stretch as the minutes passed. Maya's body ached, and her energy was draining quickly, but she knew she had a chance because of Sam's actions. She tried to distract herself by thinking of her family, of her brother waiting at home, and of the herbs she had been collecting that morning. Each thought gave her a small spark of courage to endure the pain. The desert around them felt endless, but the presence of another human being gave her hope. Finally, Sam finished carefully removing as much venom as he could. He smiled gently at her, though he was clearly concerned. "That's the hardest part done. Now we need to get you to safety," he said. Maya tried to speak, but her throat felt dry and her voice barely came out. "Thank you," she managed to whisper. The words were small, but they carried a world of gratitude. Sam nodded, knowing that they still had a difficult journey ahead. He helped her sit up slowly, supporting her as she tried to balance on her weak legs. Every step was painful, but she leaned on him as he guided her toward his horse. The desert seemed more threatening now, the sun blazing overhead, the sand hot under their feet. But Sam's calm confidence made her feel safer than she had since the bite occurred. She held onto him tightly as he helped her onto the horse, making sure she was secure before mounting his own. The journey across the desert was slow and careful. Sam rode steadily, keeping the horse at a slow pace to avoid jarring Maya's injured leg. She held on tightly, her body trembling from pain and exhaustion. The desert stretched endlessly before them, with small cacti, rocks, and dry shrubs dotting the landscape. Every now and then, Maya would glance around, noticing the beauty of the desert even in this moment of fear. The sun was high in the sky, casting long shadows that moved with the wind. As they rode, Sam spoke gently to keep her alert. He told stories of his travels across the desert, of the animals he had seen, and of the stars that lit up the night sky. Maya listened, trying to focus on his words rather than the pain in her leg. The distraction helped her stay awake, her mind occupied with images and sounds that were not the venom coursing through her veins. Every story made the journey a little easier to endure, even as her body weakened. The ride was not easy. Maya's leg throbbed constantly, and she felt a wave of nausea from the venom. She tried to take deep breaths, following Sam's instructions to keep her body calm. The sun was hot and sweat dripped down her face, but she didn't complain. She trusted that Sam would get her to safety, and that thought kept her going. Every mile felt long, but slowly they made progress across the vast desert. Finally, after what felt like hours, Sam spotted the distant outline of the Apache settlement. Relief washed over Maya in a wave that made her weak knees shake. She knew she was close to safety, and the hope of seeing her family again filled her with strength she didn't realize she had left. Sam guided the horse carefully toward the village, ensuring Maya remained as comfortable as possible. The sight of familiar homes, small fires, and people moving about gave her a sense of comfort that words could not describe. As they reached the edge of the village, people noticed them immediately. Some ran toward them, alarmed by the sight of Maya's injury and Sam's urgent presence. Sam helped Maya off the horse, guiding her slowly toward the center of the village. Villagers gasped when they saw her leg, swollen and red from the bite. They quickly led her inside, where her family rushed to her side. Tears filled Maya's eyes as she saw her brother and grandmother, their worry and love clear in their faces. She felt a mix of relief, gratitude, and exhaustion. Sam stayed nearby, explaining what had happened and how he had treated the bite. The villagers were impressed by his courage and quick thinking. Maya's grandmother took her hand gently and smiled through her tears. "You are brave, child, and this man has saved your life," she said. Maya nodded weakly, overwhelmed by emotion. She realized that her life had been spared because of someone's courage and care, and she knew she would never forget it. In the following hours, Maya received further care from her family and the village healers. Her leg was cleaned, wrapped, and treated with herbs to prevent infection. The pain remained, but she felt safe for the first time since the bite. Sam stayed with her until he was sure she was stable, refusing to leave until her family assured him she would be okay. The bond that had formed in the desert between a terrified young woman and a brave cowboy was strong, built on trust, courage, and the shared fight for survival. Maya lay on the soft sand, her body trembling from pain, exhaustion, and the lingering effects of the rattlesnake. Venomed, every muscle in her leg ached, the swelling making it feel like it would burst at any moment. Her heart still raced, but the presence of Sam, the cowboy who had saved her, gave her a small measure of comfort. She tried to focus on his calm voice as he spoke, giving her instructions and reassurance. Despite the fear and pain, she felt hope slowly returning, a fragile thread that held her to life. Sam examined her leg again, gently touching the wound to assess how much the swelling had spread. He had removed as much venom as he could earlier, but he knew the battle was not yet over. He needed to keep her stable until she received proper care from her family and the village healers. His eyes were steady and attentive, scanning her body for any signs of worsening weakness or shock. Maya noticed the care and seriousness in his actions, and it made her trust him even more. She had been alone in the desert moments ago, facing a deadly threat, and now, thanks to him, she had a chance to survive. "Try to stay calm," Sam said softly. "The venom is still in your system, but you're strong. I will stay with you until we get you somewhere safe." His voice was gentle but firm, giving her courage to focus on the present rather than the pain coursing through her leg. Maya nodded weakly, her lips dry and her breathing shallow. She felt a wave of dizziness but fought to stay awake. She knew that losing consciousness could make the situation much more dangerous, and she clung to Sam's words like a lifeline. The desert around them was quiet, almost eerily still, as if it understood the seriousness of the moment. The sun was high now, beating down on the sand and rocks, and the heat made the air shimmer. Maya's skin felt sticky with sweat, and the pain in her leg made every movement agonizing. Yet she remained conscious, aware of every detail, every sound, every movement around her. Sam adjusted the cloth tied above her bite, checking to ensure it was not too tight and not too loose. He had to balance slowing the venom with keeping her circulation safe. Maya's mind wandered, thinking of her life before this moment. She remembered walking through the desert that morning, enjoying the calm and the quiet. She had thought of gathering herbs for her family, imagining the smiles on their faces when she returned home. She had felt safe then, confident in her knowledge of the land. Now everything had changed in a single instant. The desert that had seemed so peaceful had become a place of danger, and she realized how quickly life could shift from safety to threat. Sam's presence kept her grounded. He gently helped her sit up, making sure she did not put pressure on her injured leg. Maya felt her muscles trembling, weak from both fear and the venom. Her vision was slightly blurry, but she focused on Sam's face, on his calm and determined expression. She noticed the lines on his face from years of hard work in the desert, and she felt gratitude for the courage it had taken for him to stop and help her. It was a reminder that even in a harsh and lonely world, acts of kindness could save lives. "I need to get you moving slowly," Sam said, helping her to lean on a nearby rock for support. "We can't stay here. We need to reach the settlement where your family can help you." Maya nodded, even though her legs felt like they could not support her. She leaned heavily on him as he guided her step by step, each movement slow and careful. Every step sent sharp pain through her calf, but she refused to give up. Her determination to survive pushed her forward, even as her body weakened. As they moved, Maya noticed the desert around her in a new way. She saw the small cacti with their tiny flowers, the patterns of shadows cast by the rocks, and the distant mountains that had seemed so far away earlier. The heat made the sand shimmer, and the wind blew softly, carrying the faint scent of sage and dry earth. It was as if the desert was both a beautiful and dangerous place, reminding her of the balance of life, both harsh and breathtaking at the same time. The journey to the settlement was not easy. Every step was painful, and Maya's strength continued to ebb. She stumbled occasionally, and Sam caught her before she fell. "You're doing well," he said encouragingly. "Just a little further and you'll be safe." His words were simple, but they carried weight. Maya focused on them, imagining herself reaching her family, seeing their relief and love. That vision kept her moving, step by painful step. Maya's breathing was heavy, each inhalation sharp with pain. She felt waves of nausea as the venom worked through her system. Sam noticed her struggle and helped her sit down on a shaded rock for a moment, offering her water. "Drink slowly," he instructed. "We don't want to make you dizzy." Maya sipped carefully, feeling the cool water soothe her dry mouth. Even small comforts like this helped her feel grounded and reminded her that she was not alone. Sam then checked the cloth again, making sure it was secure. He knew the importance of keeping the venom from spreading too quickly, but he also wanted to ensure that circulation in her leg remained intact. His careful attention gave Maya confidence. She realized that his knowledge, courage, and quick thinking were why she had survived this far. She felt a deep sense of gratitude and trust, knowing that she was in capable hands. As they continued moving, the distant sounds of the settlement grew clearer. Maya's heart leapt at the thought of reaching safety. She imagined her family rushing to her side, her grandmother preparing herbs to soothe her pain, her younger brother looking on with worry and relief. The vision gave her strength to push through the sharp aches in her leg, each step a victory over the fear and venom that had threatened her life. Finally, after what seemed like hours but was likely only minutes, they reached the edge of the settlement. Maya could see the small adobe homes, smoke rising from chimneys, and villagers moving about. Relief washed over her in a wave so strong that it made her tremble. She knew she was close to safety, that the people she loved were nearby, and that her journey through the desert was almost over. Sam guided her carefully into the village, where people immediately noticed her condition. Some ran toward her, alarmed by the swelling and bruising on her leg. Her family rushed out, their faces filled with worry and fear. Maya felt tears well up as she saw them, realizing how close she had come to losing her life. She reached out to her grandmother, who gently held her hand and whispered comforting words. Maya's younger brother clung to her other hand, relief shining in his eyes. The village healers quickly took over, examining her leg and applying herbal treatments to prevent infection. Maya's pain remained, but she felt safe for the first time since the bite occurred. Sam stayed close, explaining what had happened and how he had helped. The villagers listened in awe, impressed by his bravery and quick thinking. Maya's grandmother smiled through her tears, acknowledging Sam's courage. "You have saved her life," she said. Maya nodded weakly, her gratitude impossible to express fully in words. As she rested, Maya reflected on the events of the day. She realized how fragile life could be, how quickly danger could appear, and how important it was to remain calm and focused in the face of fear. She also understood the value of kindness and courage, seeing in Sam's actions a reminder that help could appear in the most unexpected places. She knew she would never forget the bravery of the man who had risked himself to save her life, and the lessons she had learned would remain with her forever. By the evening, Maya felt stronger, though still weak. The swelling in her leg had reduced slightly, and her mind was clearer now that she was in a safe place. Sam finally prepared to leave, knowing she was stable and cared for. Maya reached out, holding his hand in gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice stronger now. Sam nodded with a gentle smile, satisfied that she was safe and would recover. He tipped his hat and walked back toward the edge of the village, disappearing into the desert as quietly as he had arrived. Maya's heart was full of emotion, relief, gratitude, and a sense of awe at the events of the day. She realized that courage, quick thinking, and compassion had come together to save her life. The desert, once a place of fear and danger, had become a place where she had discovered the power of human kindness. She would carry this memory with her forever, a reminder that even in the harshest conditions, hope and bravery could make all the difference. After reaching the safety of her village, Maya was surrounded by the warm, caring presence of her family and the village healers. Her grandmother and mother carefully examined her leg, applying herbal remedies that had been passed down for generations. The swelling and pain from the snake bite were still intense, but Maya felt a small sense of relief knowing she was no longer alone in the desert. Her younger brother stayed close, his worried eyes following every movement. Maya tried to smile at him, but the ache in her leg and the exhaustion from the journey made it difficult. She realized how fragile life could be and how quickly danger could strike. The village healers worked diligently, cleaning her wound and wrapping it with soft cloths soaked in healing herbs. They explained each step to her, telling her that the venom had been partially removed thanks to Sam's quick actions, but her leg would need time to fully recover. Maya listened intently, grateful for their care and guidance. She realized that her survival was a combination of many factors: her own knowledge of the desert, the courage of a stranger, and the wisdom of her people. It was a humbling thought, and she felt a deep sense of gratitude. Maya's leg throbbed constantly, making it difficult for her to move, but she focused on staying calm. The healers advised her to rest and keep her leg elevated to reduce swelling. They prepared herbal poultices to soothe the pain and prevent infection. Her grandmother stayed beside her, softly singing old songs that spoke of strength, courage, and the resilience of their people. Maya listened, feeling the warmth and love of her family surround her. The soothing words helped her relax, even as her body ached from the snake bite. Throughout the day, villagers came to check on her. Some brought water, while others offered small comforts like soft blankets or food. Maya was overwhelmed by the kindness of her community. She had always known that her village was close-knit, but experiencing it firsthand in a moment of life-threatening danger made her realize the strength of human connection. She thought of Sam, the cowboy who had risked himself to save her, and she felt gratitude that went beyond words. His courage and selflessness had brought her safely back to the people she loved. As the sun began to set, casting a warm orange glow over the village, Maya's father returned from tending to distant fields. Seeing his daughter safe brought tears to his eyes. He knelt beside her, gently holding her hand and asking softly how she felt. Maya tried to reassure him with a weak smile, but she could see the worry still lingering in his eyes. He was grateful beyond measure to Sam, the stranger who had saved his daughter's life. Maya explained briefly how Sam had acted quickly, removing the venom and guiding her to the village. Her father nodded, deeply thankful for the bravery and kindness of the cowboy. Night fell, and the desert outside grew calm and quiet. Maya rested on a soft bed prepared by her grandmother, the gentle flicker of a fire casting shadows on the walls. She reflected on the events of the day, the sudden snake bite, the terrifying pain, and the overwhelming fear. But she also thought about the courage that had appeared in the form of Sam, the cowboy who had stopped to help her when no one else was around. She realized that bravery could come from the most unexpected places, and it could make the difference between life and death. Maya's recovery progressed slowly over the next few days. Each morning, the healers cleaned her leg, applied soothing herbal poultices, and checked for signs of infection. The swelling gradually decreased, and the pain became more manageable. She could move her leg a little more each day, though she still needed assistance to walk. Her family remained by her side, offering support and encouragement. Her younger brother insisted on helping her, even if it meant simply holding her hand as she took careful steps. Maya felt a profound sense of connection with her family, realizing that love and care were as vital as any remedy in healing the body. During her recovery, Maya's thoughts often returned to Sam. She wondered if he had returned to the desert, riding alone across the vast, empty land. She hoped he was safe and well, though she knew she might never see him again. Still, the memory of his calm determination and bravery stayed with her, a reminder of the power of human kindness. She felt inspired by his actions, realizing that one person's courage could change the course of another person's life entirely. As she grew stronger, Maya began taking short walks around the village with the help of her family. Each step was a reminder of how far she had come, from the moment of the snake bite, through the terrifying journey across the desert, to the safety and care of her village. She noticed small details she had not seen before: the soft sound of wind through the trees, the laughter of children playing nearby, and the way the sun's light reflected off the rooftops. The world seemed brighter and more precious after her near-death experience. One afternoon, as Maya rested in the shade of a large tree, her grandmother spoke to her about the lessons she had learned. "Life can be fragile, but it can also be full of surprises," she said gently. "Sometimes help comes from where we least expect it. Courage and kindness are gifts that can save lives, just as you experienced." Maya nodded, understanding the truth in her grandmother's words. She had lived through fear, pain, and uncertainty, but she had also witnessed bravery, compassion, and the strength of her own spirit. Maya's family and the village celebrated her recovery quietly, grateful that she had survived such a dangerous encounter. They shared stories of the incident, emphasizing Sam's bravery and the importance of staying calm in moments of crisis. Maya listened, feeling a mix of humility and pride. She had faced a life-threatening situation and survived, but she also knew that her life had been spared because of the courage of another person. That realization made her determined to help others whenever she could, just as Sam had helped her. As days turned into weeks, Maya's leg healed further. She could walk without assistance, though she remained careful not to strain herself. The memory of the snake bite and the journey across the desert remained vivid, a reminder of how quickly life could change. Yet she also carried the memory of Sam's bravery, the kindness of her family, and the strength of her community. These memories gave her hope, courage, and a deep appreciation for life. Maya began sharing her story with other villagers, emphasizing the lessons she had learned. She spoke of the importance of staying calm, seeking help quickly, and recognizing acts of kindness and courage. The villagers listened with admiration and respect, inspired by her resilience and the bravery of the cowboy who had saved her. Maya's story became a source of hope and guidance, a reminder that even in the most dangerous moments, courage, care, and quick action could make all the difference. By the end of her recovery, Maya felt a renewed sense of strength and purpose. She had survived a deadly encounter, endured intense pain, and witnessed the power of bravery and kindness. She had learned that life was fragile but precious, and that even strangers could make a lasting impact. The experience had changed her in profound ways, teaching her to value each moment, appreciate the people around her, and act with courage when needed. Maya's bond with her family grew stronger than ever. She appreciated their care, their concern, and their unwavering support during her recovery. Her younger brother stayed close, often helping her with small tasks and making her laugh despite the pain she had endured. Her grandmother continued to teach her about the desert, its plants, and its dangers, but now Maya listened with new understanding and respect. She knew that her knowledge, combined with courage and the help of others, had been essential to her survival. Weeks passed, and Maya's leg slowly regained its strength. The swelling had gone down, the pain had lessened, and she was finally able to walk without assistance. Each careful step reminded her of the terrifying morning in the desert when a rattlesnake had bitten her. She could still feel faint aches in her calf, a gentle reminder of how close she had come to losing her life. Yet now every movement felt like a small victory, proof of her resilience and the care she had received. Maya spent her days helping around the village, taking only light tasks as she rebuilt her strength. She watered plants, gathered herbs, and helped her grandmother prepare remedies. Each action made her feel more capable, more alive, and more grateful for the second chance she had been given. The villagers continued to support her, bringing food, checking on her leg, and offering encouraging words. Their kindness reinforced her understanding of how much a community could help someone recover, both physically and emotionally. Even as she regained her strength, Maya could not stop thinking about Sam, the cowboy who had saved her life. She wondered whether he had returned to his travels across the vast desert, alone on his horse. She felt a deep desire to thank him properly, though she knew the desert was wide, and finding him again would be difficult. Still, the memory of his calm courage, his steady hands, and his determination to save her stayed with her every day. It became a source of inspiration, reminding her that a single act of bravery could change someone's life forever. One evening, as the sun began to set, painting the sky in soft shades of pink and orange, Maya sat with her grandmother near the small fire in their courtyard. The warmth of the flames and the gentle sound of the wind through the trees created a peaceful atmosphere. Maya shared her thoughts about Sam, explaining how he had risked himself to save her, how he had removed the venom, and how he had guided her safely to the village. Her grandmother listened carefully, nodding with understanding. "Courage is a rare gift," she said softly, "and kindness is just as important. You have witnessed both, and it is something you must carry with you forever." Maya reflected on her experience and realized how much it had changed her. She had faced a moment of extreme fear and danger, yet she had survived. The desert, which had once seemed vast and lonely, had revealed both danger and the possibility of unexpected help. She now understood that life could be unpredictable, that moments of peril could appear suddenly, and that the actions of one brave person could make all the difference. The lessons she had learned were clear. Courage, calm thinking, and trust in others were invaluable. As she continued to regain her strength, Maya resumed her daily routines with renewed energy. She helped her family with chores, taught her younger brother about the plants she had gathered, and shared stories about the desert. She spoke about the snake bite cautiously, focusing on the lessons she had learned rather than the pain she had endured. The villagers listened with interest, inspired by her resilience and her thoughtful reflections. Maya's story became a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in moments of danger, life could be preserved through courage and quick thinking. Maya's gratitude toward Sam grew stronger with each passing day. She often imagined him riding through the desert, strong and free, helping strangers and surviving the harsh conditions with courage. She wished she could meet him again to express her thanks properly, though she knew it might never happen. Even so, the impact of his actions had left a permanent mark on her life. She felt motivated to carry that spirit forward, helping others in need whenever she could, inspired by the example Sam had set. One afternoon, as Maya rested near a quiet stream outside the village, she began to reflect on how the experience had changed her perception of life. She realized that fear and danger were part of living, but they could be met with courage and careful action. She thought about her family, the village healers, and the villagers who had supported her, understanding that no one survived alone. Life, she realized, was a balance between independence and reliance on others, between strength and humility. The snake bite had been a terrifying event, but it had taught her invaluable lessons about trust, bravery, and human connection. Maya also noticed small changes in herself. She was more aware of her surroundings, more cautious in the desert, and more appreciative of every moment of safety and comfort. She observed the animals, the wind, and the plants with new attention, remembering how easily danger could strike. Yet she also appreciated the beauty and resilience of the desert, understanding that life thrived even in the harshest conditions. This awareness gave her a deeper sense of respect for the world around her and the people who lived within it. As she continued her recovery, Maya began helping the younger children in the village learn about the desert and its secrets. She taught them how to identify safe plants, how to move carefully through the sand, and how to respect the animals and environment. She shared her story with them, emphasizing the importance of staying calm, seeking help quickly, and understanding the value of courage and kindness. The children listened with wide eyes, learning not just about survival, but about the moral lessons embedded in her experience. Maya's bond with her family deepened as well. She appreciated their unwavering care, their patience, and their concern for her well-being. Her grandmother continued to teach her, her younger brother stayed close with admiration, and her parents remained vigilant, grateful that she had survived. The experience had strengthened their relationships, reminding Maya of the importance of family and community in life's most challenging moments. She realized that survival was not just about physical strength, it was also about emotional support and love. Finally, Maya felt ready to resume her life fully. She walked confidently through the village, helping wherever she could and carrying with her the lessons of courage, kindness, and resilience. She often looked toward the horizon, imagining the wide desert where Sam had saved her life. Though she might never see him again, she felt a lasting connection to the cowboy who had risked himself for a stranger. His actions had changed her life, and she knew she would carry his bravery in her heart forever. Maya also shared her story beyond the village, talking to travelers and visitors who passed through the region. She emphasized the importance of awareness, quick action, and the power of human kindness. People listened with admiration, inspired by her courage and the courage of the cowboy who had saved her. Her story spread, becoming a legend in its own way, a tale of danger, bravery, and the strength of the human spirit. As months passed, Maya fully recovered both physically and emotionally. Her leg was strong again, her body healthy, and her spirit resilient. She never forgot the terrifying moment of the snake bite, the pain she endured, or the bravery of Sam. Yet she also never forgot the love of her family, the care of the village healers, and the lessons she had learned about life, courage, and compassion. Every step she took in the desert afterward reminded her of her journey, and she moved with confidence, gratitude, and awareness. In the end, Maya's experience became more than just a tale of survival. It became a story of hope, human connection, and the power of courage in the face of danger. She had faced one of nature's deadliest threats and survived, thanks to her own strength, her family's care, and the brave actions of a stranger. The lessons she learned stayed with her, guiding her through life and inspiring others. Maya understood that bravery and kindness were gifts, and that a single act of courage could save a life, and in her case, it had done exactly that. Maya's heart remained filled with gratitude. She often looked toward the horizon, imagining Sam riding through the desert, knowing that his bravery had given her a second chance at life. She carried the lessons of that day with her always, honoring the courage, kindness, and wisdom that had allowed her to survive. The story of the Apache woman and the brave cowboy became a source of inspiration for everyone who heard it, a timeless reminder that even in the harshest moments, life could be saved through courage, quick thinking, and human compassion.